Hi, everybody. It's JT and CC. That's CC.
That's JT.
From the CC and JT Amateur Hour, where obviously
Production values go to die.
It is January 21st, 2024.
Yes, it is.
Sunday, January, no, whatever.
Sunday.
Yeah. We took a week hiatus because of technical issues. Our Wi-Fi in our house was really messed up. We did record a podcast, but by the time the Wi-Fi got fixed, the time for the podcast had passed. So if you want to find out what happened last week, there's a really long blog post that talked about marketing across the 5 platforms.
I think it was a very interesting blog post too.
Yeah. So if you're an independent writer, and if you're thinking about being an independent writer, and you want to do marketing through the 5 platforms, and I'll say them again because obviously I need the practice: Amazon, Apple, Google, Barnes and Noble, and Kobo. We would recommend finding ways to enhance your marketing program and not rely on just those platforms, because really only one of the platforms really does. You could do the marketing if they've got room for you.
Yes, which we weren't 100% clear on when we decided we were going to attempt it. And it tells you there are 6 spots available. We thought maybe it was you could promote up to 6 books, but it turns out they will only allow 6 authors on this specific spot. So it's a lottery, basically. They just decide who they want to emphasize, and if they don't take the money unless they put you in one of the spots, which is good. Yeah. But
so we recommend experimenting with various marketing tricks and ploys and programs and giveaways and such, which we will do.
Yes.
Which we will do when we get there. But that's not the purpose of today's podcast. The purpose of today's podcast, because we're always laser sharp on these things, is okay.
We need to drink more coffee.
We need to drink more coffee. Okay, so funny story. We're going to talk about the magic of numbers. Success is relative. Very. Success is relative, and we've been writing for a while, and we haven't had a terrific amount of success, except financial success, yes. Except when the books came out, and there was a little surge of interest, and so people, friends and family. Thank you, friends and family, for making us feel like the effort that we put into the books was worth it. Right. But it's been a desert wasteland.
And then they languish.
Yeah, and then she discovered Atticus, which is a fantastic book formatting.
It's great.
It's a fantastic book formatting program, which allowed us to expand from Amazon to the 5 platforms. Okay, so good. And we've met some moderate success. It's gotten to the point where it's humorous, where it's funny. Because one of the books, and we don't have it here to show it off.
Oh, I can grab it.
Yeah, it's right there. We should have been prepared, but hey, you get what you pay for. Low production values. There you go. There we go.
Sheriff, you're here. Have to.
Okay, we're done. God, I hope YouTube doesn't pick that one as the clip.
They probably will.
That's good. That'll scare children. So Sheriff has gone on Barnes and Noble has gone through a minor surge, and we're not going to say specific numbers because, as we said, success is relative. Right. But it's gone through minor surge. Thank you so much for people that are picking it up. Really fantastic. And I should say it's the ebook that's been going through this, and it's been consistently keeping the numbers
for about two and a half weeks now, maybe?
Somewhere like that. Yeah. So it's like there are more days that it sells than it doesn't. Yes. I'm taking a long way to get to this, folks, and so you'll understand when we get there.
There is a reason.
There's a reason. So a few nights ago, 3 or 4 nights ago, God.
I think it was about 3 nights ago.
Yeah, 3 nights ago, ISCC. Okay. So before I check, Kobo updates their count at 9 o'clock every night. So
was it Kobo or was it Barnes and Noble?
Barnes and Noble, sorry.
Okay.
Barnes and Noble updates their sales figures at 9 o'clock every night, Eastern Coast time, obviously. And so it's like, okay, so I say, CC, okay, so give me a prediction for tonight. And she gives this really outlandish number that I've never reached, except for when the books first came out.
Right.
But for an established book, this outlandish number that she said, it's like, you're on drugs. You're so on drugs. And so, okay, but you know, you have to humor Granny. You have to humor. You humor Granny.
Well, I picked a number and you picked a number.
Right.
And basically, your number I think was 0, right?
I always pick 0.
Okay.
I always pick 0 because, and usually I'm right, but I haven't been right for a while. Because I'm cynical. But so she picks this really number, and so I got there and refreshed the site, and it's a fantastic number.
It was the exact number I gave you.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, somebody was dancing in bed doing one of these things. And did you do it the night before, or was it just last night?
So it was, I think, 3 days ago, and then I was wrong.
Okay.
Because I gave an even more outlandish number.
Right.
But then last night...
Last night she gave a medium outlandish number. Not as outlandish as the other one. But it was outlandish.
Yes.
In my opinion, because I picked 0.
Yep.
And sadly, eventually I'll be right. But, you know. So it's like, and of course she nailed it. Right on. Oh my God.
But it got better.
She absolutely nailed it.
What really amused me, though, was I picked the number, and you can look at which specific books have sold and how many of each book. So I went on to say that it was a certain number of this book,
mm-hmm.
and then a certain number of the sequel to this book, Downfall. And when you checked, it was...
It nailed it. She nailed it. She nailed because it was an odd number, and so she nailed it perfectly.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm just going, oh God, she's just not going to be lovable for a week.
I'm psychic.
So
twice in 1 week.
And it's like, oh dear God. And so tell the public the number you picked for tonight.
For tonight, 10,000.
This is what I live with. Okay, so
that's a little bit more than the original outlandish numbers that I picked, just a tiny bit. So if you want to help make my prediction true, that would be awesome. I would love. And honestly, this is counting the books that sold yesterday.
Yeah,
so it would already have happened.
Yeah.
So the 10,000 mark is pretty unlikely.
Really? So, because Barnes & Noble delays a day before they post.
Yes.
So, and that's fine. That's fine. But it's still...
It was funny.
Still funny.
It was really fun. And as JT mentioned, success is relative. If we were to give out the actual numbers, some people would be like, oh, well, whatever.
Yeah.
But the fact that these books have languished for so long because they were limited to one platform, I think what we're learning is that certain platforms actually perform better for us than others. And I think part of the reason for that is maybe we hit an algorithm. Maybe it's because of the sheer numbers. Because most people, when they initially publish, will publish with Amazon. And there is constantly a turnover and new product going up on Amazon, which may not be happening quite as much on these other platforms. So it is allowing more visibility. Yeah. And these are good books. They really are. They're well written. The characters are great. Sheriff Maggie is a fun person to follow. So I am not surprised at all that people are picking up on this. I wish they would pick up on some of the other books, but, and honestly, I mentioned kind of offhand the other day, so if my predictions are coming true, I think this would make a great TV show. Seriously. Because the adventures of Sheriff Maggie in Nevada, I think people would be all over that.
Yeah.
And there is a precedent out there right now. Yellowstone is really popular, 1923, which I think is the sequel kind of show to Yellowstone.
Or prequel?
No, I think 1923 is the sequel. I think Yellowstone happens earlier.
We don't know.
I think whichever, we don't watch, but this would probably fit in that genre, only it's, more contemporary. It's not an Old West show. It's what kind of current times, but in a fictional Nevada county. So
Yeah.
if I'm making another prediction that may or may not come true, hey, you know,
Oh,
Apple
dear God.
TV, Paramount Plus, whatever, you know, here's another good story for you to pick up for your.
If it does come true, I'm adding stuff to this coffee.
He would lose his mind, honestly, because we've mentioned this before. It's one thing to write and put your work out there, but when you realize that people are actually buying it and probably reading it, see, this is what happens. Because even though it is really well done, it was edited properly. You know, we've done an amazing job at formatting both the ebook and the paperback version. So it is a professional product. We have put the work into making it a professional product. But there's always that little voice in the back of an author's mind saying, nobody's going to like what I wrote.
No, just buy it, but don't read it. Perfect world. Okay.
I don't know about that.
Well, anywho. So, enough about that. So,
we'll let you know.
Pardon me?
I'll let you know, though, if he hits 10,000. Maybe not for yesterday, but we'll see.
We'll see.
If you want to help me make that true,
yeah,
that would be really funny.
We would just like to break even, actually.
Well, actually, you said, though, our returns are improving because you have been analyzing how much we're putting out versus how much we're making.
Right.
And it is closing the gap.
Yeah, but we've got some expenses coming up that we can't avoid. What we're referring to is, just very quickly, is 2 more books, which is our published book writing and publishing company. Mm-hmm. She being the CEO and editor-in-chief, and me being the CFO, which is where, you know, I get a lot of my stress, and then the CIO, the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, and CSO, Chief Strategic Officer, which, you know, these are not made up titles. No, these are for any business. You need to have that now. You know, the donut place up at North Carson, which I absolutely adore, which I can't go to.
Yes.
The big pink boxes. You know, they have the same roles of, you know, the CEO and the marketing and so on and so forth. And, you know, it's, and I had something I wanted to real chat about that just very quickly is, it's completely gone.
Were you going to talk? No, you were talking about the, we're closing the gap, but we have expenses coming up.
Gap, because there's always going to be expense overhead for the company. And you know, and I'm curious for some folks. And if you're an independent writer, I'm just kind of curious. Do you go out and do you go to the extreme, which may be considered the extreme, because a lot of people view independent writers as hobbyists, and that's not an unfair thing, because, you know, especially if you have a full-time job, as Cece and I did, and I used to have, but the writing was sort of the thing on the side that you threw money at. But we've decided to take it beyond that and to make it a company. But for the folks that do make it that profession, you know, putting out as professional products, do you go the whole hog in creating a LLC, a limited liability company? Do you get business licenses? Do you do these kind of things to formalize it? Do you put it on your tax forms like we would as 2 more books? Or is this, you know, is that going too far? And, you know, that's a question that I've always wondered, I've always floated. And for us, I decided that it was worth making the leap. And I'm not sure if that's, you know, overkill or overwork, because it takes the energy away from the writing.
It does, but in our case at least, and I think this is true probably of most authors, once you reach a certain level, like we're talking about going the LLC business license route once we hit a certain financial threshold, because before that, it really doesn't make financial sense at all. And we are kind of considered more as hobbyists than we are a professional company, because we're really not making the income that a professional company would earn. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at a threshold, and I think that's true of a lot of people. They may just be publishing. You know, you could be self-published, you could be traditionally published, you could be a hybrid author. And once you reach a certain threshold, obviously your tax returns will have to reflect that for some, you know, because there is an amount that you have to earn where it starts to become taxable income and everything. So I do think for everybody, even if you're considering yourself a hobbyist, there becomes that point where you are earning the money where you do have to reflect that and somehow become a more professional company. And I know a lot of self-published authors do start their own publishing imprint, basically, where it's basically it's a way to reflect what they do on their taxes. They have to have some kind of structure in place for that.
Yeah. So, but I'm curious what other folks' opinions are. Do you wait to hit that financial threshold? Do you just, declare it as an additional income? We all get 1099s from the platforms. We get 1099s from the platforms in order to, sell books. So what do you do with those? It's an interesting conundrum. But the business side, of course, it may not be what you're here for as an independent writer. You're also here for writing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, writing stuff happens. And so it's like yesterday, I'm sitting in front of the football games. Actually, the first football game, it was the Ravens game yesterday. And I've got the laptop there, and I'm just typing along, just sort of while the Ravens game is on. And I'm going to be doing the same today during the Chiefs game, the Chiefs-Bills game, which should be pretty good.
Oh, the Chiefs game.
Yeah,
Yes.
that should be pretty good. Taylor's boyfriend's team.
Right.
And
I don't
then
know. At this point, it might be Taylor's team.
Yeah, it might be Taylor's team, yeah. Boy, the NFL must really love her.
And for people who are not aware, and if you aren't aware, what rock are you under? We're talking about Taylor Swift.
Yeah. What I have found a new habit is for creative spaces, I'll stick the laptop in front of the laptop, but in the morning it's like, I'm just sort of going, zombieing around, waiting for CC to go to work, and then stay home and keep me company, lovey. And then I just sit down at the computer and I just start typing. It's like, okay, what was I dreaming last night? And hey, gets 2,000 words, man. Don't knock it. No,
So the question becomes, you talk about, getting words, whatever you dreamt last night. Do you think that consistently writing actually does filter into your dreams? Do you dream about your stories, or do you just get ideas in your sleep?
I don't dream about my stories. And now I had remembered what I was going to say earlier, and I knew if I kept talking long enough, I'd remember it. Now I forgot it again. But anyway, the conundrum that I'm having right now, and I think I've mentioned in previous podcasts and broadcasts, is with Sheriff showing some success. I'm working on 2 projects concurrently at the same time, writing on them, because I find that if I get bored with one, then I can switch to the other one. And by the way, this is a habit that used to drive Cece crazy when we were young, and so she would find books all over the place because
you'd read more than one at the same time.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
Yeah, so writing 2 books at the same time is not a struggle. It's just it's just whichever catches my interest. But I'm in a business conjuring now because we are a company. And so you would think that, so Sheriff has got some noise going on here. And so Downfall is too, the sequel. So wouldn't you think I would get to the 3rd book? And, and I've got 30,000 words of the 3rd book written. So shouldn't I just dive over to that one and do that? And business-wise, if the CFO were writing the books, the CFO would be writing the Sheriff book, but it ain't the CFO. It's the creative staff of 2 more books. And right now, the creative staff of 2 more books is caught up in the space epic. So the space epic goes forward. And so my hope is that the sequel to Sheriff will happen this year. But I'm going great guns on the space epic. And that's going well. And the person who I feel really, 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 really sorry for is because between the 4 books, the 3 books of the space epic and the sequel, Sheriff, that's over 200,000 words that you're going to have to go through as the editor-in-chief and go, oh my God, what is he trying to say here?
Well, and I just had a realization of why you're having so much trouble with Sheriff Book 3.
Mm.
It's like when you get to the middle of the story and you hit the doldrums and you don't know where to go.
Yeah.
You're very excited about books 4 and 5.
Yeah.
But book 3 is the doldrums.
Right.
So you're having problems getting those words out because you know it needs to be done to progress the story, but you're just not feeling it right now. And that's one of the reasons I keep telling JT that even if he's working on the space epic, I'm sure things are going on in the back of your mind. I think it's better to focus on something where you feel you have the creative energy than trying to force something you're not quite ready to get out. because that will just make a mess of it.
Yeah.
You're going to have that flash of inspiration that will move the story forward. And in the creative sense, that makes, that's perfect sense.
Right. Yeah.
That it works perfectly fine. It's just people who are reading these books right now might start saying, hey, I'm looking for book 3.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's the quandary that authors are in. Traditional publishing doesn't come out as quickly as self-published authors, because a lot of self-published authors actually will have multiple books ready to go at once and then do them sequentially in a short period of time to keep the interest going.
Yeah.
Traditional publishing has been more of there's a lot more overhead involved in getting the books out there, and they have to schedule a variety of authors. So we're kind of in a place where we are definitely not traditional publishers by any stretch of the imagination. But like you said, the creative staff right now is more focused on one story, which I think is perfectly fine. But in the business sense, it doesn't really add up.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's going to be a struggle, but it at least is something that keeps me going. And I do hope to get the two, the first of the Space Epic books, whether it's going to be 2 books. Because the Space Epic book is, let's see, what is it right now? So it's I'm doing math in my brain, which is really tiring right now. So right now I could have 2 books of 90,000 words each, or 3 books of 60,000 words each, which makes them small books. 60,000 words is like Old Man and the Sea, just barely bigger than The Old Man and the Sea by Hemingway. So it's not really humongous. So I'm more tempted to do it in 2 books. But what I'm hoping is the first book of the Space Epic is in 2024, and I'm hoping that the third book of Sheriff is going to be in 2024, and then the next books, Sheriff 4, will be in 2025, and the next Space Epic will be next year too. So we'll see how that goes.
Right.
So it's interesting stuff, except to us. But what we're hoping is with this podcast broadcast kind of thing to show is that we go through the same challenges and the same struggles that a lot of writers go through. And one of those struggles is working in isolation. Mm-hmm. Because writing, and we've said this before, writing is a very private endeavor that's done in the public eye. And pardon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Agreeing. It's a very private endeavor that is very internalized, and that that is only expressed through your hands or through voice if you choose to dictate. But it's like you're there alone, going along, unless you're lucky to have a partner. But the initial effort, at least for us, is very solitary. But it's done in the public eye. And what I mean by that is whatever you end up doing, whatever work product you end up doing, gets out there. And so the two extremes happen at the same time in independent writing. And so what I was trying to say is that we're hoping that through these broadcasts, that you don't feel so alone, that you see other people dealing with the same struggles internally and externally, seeing with the same challenges and things like that.
And I will say that on social media, I am following a lot of other independent authors, and I am seeing a lot of the same kind of frustration. I think some of it comes after the holidays. Probably a lot of people had maybe success selling books over the holidays, because a lot of people are looking for gift ideas. And we get to that part of the year in January where it can be, this is dark and it's cold and we're all feeling the doldrums basically. And people are talking about, I'm struggling. I'm working and working and working and my books are not selling. Why am I doing this to myself? I'm seeing author after author after author going through this. And it's just like, what we're doing here is hopefully saying we all go through it. Yep. I mean, we have not achieved the level of success of some of the authors that I follow on social media. So it's like, there's strength and solidarity. Yeah. So if you're feeling alone and you're feeling like, why are you doing this? What are you spending all your, are you wasting your time basically doing this? No matter how hard you try, you're going to hit these periods where things are kind of stagnant. You're not alone. We all go through it. And there are hills and valleys. And, as things amp up during the summer season, I know people sell a lot of books because then everyone's going on vacation. They may be going to the beach or something and they want a beach read. And so, hang in there. It's not the end of the world if you do have a few quiet weeks. But actually, so far for us, January has been a big deal. And that's mainly because JT went through all the work over the fall to get these spread out across multiple platforms, and we're seeing that being Amazon exclusive maybe wasn't the best idea for all those years. So maybe you can learn something from what we're attempting to put out there.
Yeah, so, follow along and hang in there, because what you're doing is worth it. Everybody, we try to convince friends and family, that their stories are worth sharing. Your story is worth sharing, so hang in there, keep going, and we believe in you. Even if you don't believe in yourself, we believe in you. So, and believe me, we understand that itch. We understand that itch to write better than anybody. We really, really do.
And that's what it all boils down to. If you're wondering why you keep doing this to yourself, but then you cannot stop thinking about writing or actually sitting down and writing, that's why you're doing it. You're just meant to get these words out. And even if only one person reads the book, if that book resonates with one person, then you're successful.
Yeah, you don't know the influence that you maybe have on somebody you don't know, but I've got stories on that. But we're coming close to the time here, so hang in there. We believe in you. Keep going, and for God's sakes, don't let it stress you out to the point where it's just unhealthy. And if it does get to that point, seek help. Seek help.
Yes, definitely. Talk to somebody.
Yeah, you would go to the doctor if you broke your leg. Seek help. It's okay. And I can't think of anything more than that, because I don't know really if we talked about anything.
Well, we did talk about the magic of numbers. So if you want to help me predict it correctly again someday, 10,000 Sheriff books.
I love you, 10,000.
He doesn't believe it. I saw, again, on social media, another author whose husband told her, you're going to sell 1 million copies. And she's like, I don't know about that. I don't know if she's going to be anywhere close, but it's nice to have those dreams.
Yeah.
Who knows? 10,000 is a doable number.
Buy my books. Don't read them.
No, I think you should definitely read them, because the Sheriff books are fun. And honestly, I would like a few people to read Tundra, From Tundra to Tiara, if you're, because we put a lot of work into that one too, and it's not getting any love.
Yeah. And we said earlier that we've been doing the sequel to Tundra this year, but I don't think it's happening because somebody has a job and need to really. But we have 2024 is turning out to be a year of great adventure for us, and I think it's going to continue to be a great year for great adventure. So please tag along, and please join us as we do that. We're going to do the commercial now, because now we're just talking in circles, I think. Is you can read, you can get links to the books, you can get links to the podcast. You can find almost everything about us at our website at www.carsonhume.com. We've got a lot of social media out there, so you can reach out to us. Just one very quick reminder is we still have those coupons for three free Amazon books of that one.
Oh, no.
What?
Apple,
I did it again. So we still have the 3 free coupons for this guy that are still valid. So if you want a free Apple book, reach out to this website and I'll shoot you the coupon. But it's absolutely free. So if you want to see what people are reading through Barnes & Noble and you want to see what's going on through Apple, please do that. And I can't think of anything else.
No, just like JT said, follow along, because we do have a lot of plans for this year. We'll see what comes of them. Like I said, 10,000, magic number, 10,000 Sheriff. He's going to totally lose his mind. If you want to see him lose his mind,
it won't take much.
I think if he even made 5,000, he would lose his mind.
I think if I have sold 5. Okay, but okay. CC.
JT.
Y'all take care of yourselves. Thanks for following along. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.